This is a Toyota Land Cruiser. Probably, no, make that definitely, the most iconic overlanding vehicle there has ever been. Hey, come on. Come on, truck.
A little momentum is all you need, baby.
Come on, truck. Knuckles?
Knuckles in that high five. That's how it works.
Ooh, I think I touched my rock slider. Oh, but it's so beautifully done. Good job, Land Cruiser. And you tell me?
I'd probably take the Land Cruiser because I think it's a truck that's just so renowned for getting you where you need to go.
Hey Nathan, you know what the goal of this video is?
To save the Land Cruiser.
Yep, get the hashtag Keep the Cruiser out there and hopefully convince our friends at Toyota that they should save the Land Cruiser. So before we get into kind of the history, let me read a statement. This was told to Car and Driver in December when Car and Driver asked what's going to happen with the Land Cruiser. And Toyota responded by saying the Toyota Land Cruiser has been a legendary name for more than 60 years. 51 actually, 1951.
1951.
Yep. While it will be discontinued in the United States, Nathan, after the 2021 model year, we remain committed to the large SUV segment and will continue to explore future products that celebrate the Land Cruiser's rich off-road history. We encourage loyal enthusiasts and intrepid adventurers to stay tuned for future developments. So, you know, the part that I'm focusing on is that while it will be discontinued after 2021. So let's see if we can help maybe convince Toyota not to discontinue it.
Well, there are a couple things out there. First of all, one of the reasons they're discontinuing it is it's just not selling particularly well.
Doesn't sell a lot, man.
No, it doesn't.
3,000 units a year.
Yeah, and it's an expensive vehicle. However, it's been a fairly steady seller. The thing is that we do know that Toyota has been moving to new platforms. They've got the new TNGA F platform that's coming out soon. And initially, what a lot of people thought, including me, was, oh, okay, they're going to go to a new platform. But we didn't know that they're going to just stop it. So this sounds like what they did with the FJ.
Well, what's especially painful, and you're absolutely right, Nathan, is that we're right now on the 200 series, and there is a 300 series coming.
That's what they say.
But that 300 series will not be sold in America. So the Land Cruiser has been sold around the world. It's like super popular in places like the Middle East, Australia, right? Wherever there is serious off-roading. Yeah. This is the go-to overlanding adventure vehicle because of its incredible reputation for reliability.
And keep in mind that these are vehicles that have not only created a whole segment. Think about it, because we're talking about a luxury segment. Yeah, okay, we all know about that. But an off-road segment that you can hold 6, 7 passengers comfortably and go through the Sahara or through a jungle or whatever. And other car companies, other automakers have spun off and made their own versions of this vehicle. So it's extremely popular in that respect as well.
Yeah, and there are generations of people, not just one generation, but generations who have grown up on Land Cruisers here in America. And so, like I said, the first one came in 1951. It came in all kinds of different body styles, right? There was a convertible, a coupe.
There's a pickup version.
The one that we get, of course, which is a big family hauler.
Yeah.
And over those years, it is rightfully so earned a reputation for being extremely, not just off-road capable, but extremely reliable. So if you are looking at buying a vehicle that you can pass on to your children, or if you're looking for a vehicle that you can drive around the world in, this is the go-to vehicle.
It is an extremely well put together vehicle. I like to say it's well screwed together, and it is.
Earlier this week, Nathan, we put out a post on TFL Off-Road asking our viewers to submit pictures of their Land Cruisers, and boy, did you guys come through.
You responded big time.
Yeah, we have tons of pictures of people with their Land Cruisers having adventures. And here's an argument I want to make to Toyota, because let's not get too deep into the history of the Land Cruiser, because Tommy's done that video. He's driven actually all of them.
Yeah, he has.
And we can spend hours talking about it. But let's talk about kind of our case for keeping the Land Cruiser. Okay, first of all, to have such incredible loyalty, such an incredible loyal buyer base, even though it may be small, that's because it's expensive, right? I think is priceless, especially today.
As a halo vehicle, I agree.
Yeah, most people who walk into a Toyota dealership probably walk out with a 4Runner or, a RAV4.
Exactly.
But, that Land Cruiser is what brings them in.
It's aspirational. They aspire to get to that point.
Exactly, it's aspirational. And I think back kind of and look at the ashes of old car brands that I bet if you were to ask, like if you had a real one-on-one, not the kind of conversation we have with the CEOs because they're never, completely honest.
Well, of course, yeah.
It's marketing, right? We're journalists. But if you had if you sat down and had a beer with some of the CEOs of the car company and you asked them, do you think that killing Hummer was a good idea, right? Or killing Scion was a good idea, right? Because the thing that the Jeep has proved, and we know this, is there is nothing more valuable than having an engaged and loyal buyer base, which is what Toyota has today with the Land Cruiser.
In fact, that is one of the reasons why Jeep survives as it does, because it has such a strong base and they feed into it. Toyota has done exactly the opposite. Sometimes they bring back old names, but like they did with the FJ. And they built up this new community, and then what did they do with the FJ? Killed it.
2014, yeah. Here in America, you can still get it in other places.
Yeah. I'm not going to South Africa to pick one up and bring it over here, though.
And I think a good indication of that, Toyota, and just to understand how much brand equity and brand value that has, we just bought an FJ, right? It was a 2014 with 53,000 miles.
Yep.
We paid $33,000 for it. We paid as much for that truck today
as it was new
when it was new in 2014, because that's how much people value that vehicle.
And the thing is that the Land Cruiser, even more so, I think.
So
and you look at the values of these things. They hold value for so long. How much did we pay for that one that we bought, which was ancient?
Yeah, so we bought the first year of the 200 series,
right.
Which at that point was 10 years old when we bought it, because we were going to turn it into we did turn it into a TRD Pro version, which Toyota doesn't make.
But it was awesome.
It had if I recall, 170,000 miles on it. It was 10 years old, and we paid $24,000 for it.
For a vehicle that has that many miles on it, and by the way, it ran like a clock. I don't think it put a wheel wrong.
No, nothing went
even
wrong.
Even after we optimized it.
Look, you put 170,000 miles on anything, chances are we've got 3 trucks right now with that many miles or more.
Or slightly more.
I don't think that air conditioning works on any of it.
No, I don't think so. There's a door falling off on one.
There's windows falling out.
Dashboard is caved in another one.
The paint on the Dodge
has fallen completely off in some spots. The thing is that...
And that thing, just saying that Land Cruiser we bought, it looked
solid.
It looked like it drove out of the dealership.
I actually was going to ask you to buy it from you before we augmented it and then forget it. But the thing is, my wife's like, well, we already have a crossover that has, what. I was like, all right, fine, I'm not going to argue this. But it was such a good vehicle. And I took it to Moab, drove it off-road. It wasn't thrilled about it. It's a big, heavy vehicle, right? It did it. It did everything I asked it to do. And that's kind of the thing. Comfortable vehicle, reliable vehicle. Droves of people love it. And on top of that, it kicks ass off-road.
Yeah, so let's talk about kind of the next one. And we know some things about it, right? Obviously, here in America and the rest of the world, it's based, at least the 200 series was based on the Tundra.
Many components,
especially the drivetrain. It had the same transmission and the same V8 that was in the Tundra.
Yeah.
And we know that, we think we know, the rumors are that the next Tundra is going to be a turbocharged hybrid V6.
Twin turbocharged V6 hybrid or a regular twin turbocharged V6 with a 10-speed automatic transmission. That's what we're hearing.
And if Toyota follows suit the way they have in the past, then that's going to be the drivetrain that's going to be in the next Land Cruiser. And to me, that would solve the truck's biggest issue, which is it is extremely thirsty.
It is extremely thirsty, but there was another rumor that Toyota was going to make it less expensive. Now, bear in mind, one of the reasons why it's so expensive here in the States is because of the chicken tax. It's built in Japan. But on top of that, it was extremely expensive even overseas. So what they were going to do, this is the rumor, was they were going to take it down and kind of take some of the glitz off of it and make it just a solid off-road vehicle that had either a 2 or 3 row setup. So that was the rumor. Once again, we're not getting it. And
not all Land Cruisers, of course, around the world are as luxurious as ours, right?
No. They have other versions.
They have other variants.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned that it's built in Japan. It's actually built in the same factory that they built the Lexus LX in. And that factory has standards, I think, that go, at least the rumor is, much beyond most other vehicle standards, right? So
Fastidious.
yeah, so the Land Cruiser is built to not go 150,000 miles, but go 300,000 miles.
Yeah, I have a doctor who put 500,000 on his.
Yeah, and you say, well, we bought one with 170,000 miles for 23, and that is not even like that thing's not even mid-age, right?
It drives like it was brand new.
It's a spring chicken in Land Cruiser
you put it
terms.
into gear, it immediately goes, immediately starts. There's absolutely no hiccups with the engine. Yeah, really, its biggest downfall, aside from price, is the fact that it's just not very efficient. So they might address that with this new powertrain. But there are some other things. You want to hear a couple rumors that are out there and a couple quotes? Okay, for one thing, in the United States,
right,
the Lexus LX does sell fairly well. So the LX is obviously related to the Land Cruiser, and so what they're talking about doing is either keeping it as is for the foreseeable future, rumor one. Rumor two, keep the platform but put the new powertrain in it. Rumor three, new platform, either new or old engine in it, and kind of bring it into America, leach it into America, and then bring back the Land Cruiser. These are the rumors. Now, this is what they've actually said from Toyota. This guy said, what we've seen at Toyota is that there's so much of an appetite for off-roading that I see that moving into the Lexus brand as well, this will be a good idea.
So basically what you're talking about is what's already happened, right? So the Land Cruiser, we should define it's like $80,000-$90,000, especially the new Heritage.
Yeah,
right?
over 90.
It's very expensive. So kind of what's replaced the Land Cruiser in a lot of Toyota fans is the Lexus GX. So a 10-year-old GX, which is actually based on the Prado, which is sold around the world.
Which was the old 4Runner.
Right. Is gettable if it's 10 or 15 years for under $10,000. So a lot of people are buying the GX, and that's what they're using to
Which is a fine vehicle.
Which is a fine vehicle. There's nothing wrong with it. The LX obviously is just a little too expensive, a little too luxurious, right? You do not want to get mud in that thing, or sand, or dirt.
Yeah, although there are some people who do optimize them and build them up, and they've seen some real demand from Lexus buyers, which is what this quote was saying. And on top of that, some of the people from Toyota are saying it doesn't make sense for us to completely walk away from having a body-on-frame platform. By the way, that's another rumor, that they might go to a unibody platform and kind of make it like a Jeep Grand Cherokee is their next one. That's another rumor. So it's tons of rumors, but nothing confirmed.
So there are viable alternatives, and let's talk about those. So there is the GX on the Lexus side.
Yeah.
There is, of course, the LX, which we don't know what's going to happen to that when the Land Cruiser does go away. And unfortunately, on the Toyota side, the alternatives become a lot more in some ways problematic, right? So the RAV4 is, I'd call it a soft roader, right? Even
It is a soft roader.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crossover.
It's a crossover. It's not going to serve. You're not going to go around the world in that thing.
Well, not only that, but I mean, even its nicer brother, which is the NX from Lexus, it's just not built for that type of heavy-duty use.
Then, of course, the closest you're going to get to it in some ways is the 4Runner, but it's a much smaller, much different vehicle.
Ancient vehicle.
It's also ancient, yeah.
It's really
I
old.
love the 4Runner, but if I would not cross-shop it with the Land Cruiser. To me, they're like two separate.
Right, and the other option would be the Toyota Sequoia.
That's the one I might cross-shop.
Right, and so the Toyota Sequoia, currently another rumor is that they're looking at the TX or 350 or TX 500H as a possible version of that vehicle to go to Lexus. The point is that vehicle is really big and heavy. It's like a Tahoe.
Yeah,
right?
It's like a Tahoe. I mean,
it's a lot bigger.
So I did take it off-road. I did go with Toyota, and they had all their off-roaders, and it does okay, But you sit in a Land Cruiser and you sit in a Sequoia.
Completely different.
It's like the difference between like going to Nordstrom's and maybe going to Costco, right? It's a whole different world of.
So the question would be, what if they put a Lexus interior inside, which they've done with all these other vehicles that are crossbred? What if they did that with the Sequoia? Do you think that would suddenly make it into a better vehicle?
It might. The problem with the Sequoia is it doesn't have that reputation. It doesn't have the provenance. It doesn't have, you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of the reason I think that, while there are not a lot of people that are buying Land Cruisers, the reason they're buying them is for that name, right? Right. And the Sequoia just does not have the reputation. It might establish it, but right now it doesn't have it, right? I mean, the reason, I know people who will buy nothing but a Land Cruiser. They don't care. Like they walk into the dealership and there could be a Sequoia here and a 4Runner. They don't even see them.
Yeah, they just go right to
it's Land Cruiser or nothing.
Yeah. I know people like that as well. So the bottom line is that they can kind of put a little bandage over the wound, but they're not completely treating what caused the wound, which is if they get rid of the name Land Cruiser, which is really what this is all about.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of the name, you're getting rid of something that is so important to not only U.S. crowds, but worldwide. So yeah, okay, other people are going to get it. We need something. So I think that's what we're asking you guys to help us with.
Toyota does a great job, unlike some of the Germans, where they actually, import a lot of the vehicles that they sell around the world here, right? So oftentimes with the German manufacturers, what you get are like either detuned versions of the cars, or we get them later. You know what I mean?
Or we don't get them at all.
Oh, we don't get them at all. I'm thinking about cars like the Jetta, right? The Jetta in Germany is a very different car than it is here.
Oh, yeah.
Built to a price point here. There, it's much more sophisticated in its construction. And Toyota doesn't do that, right? Even though they do design cars specifically for the U.S. market, I'm thinking about the Tacoma, which is not a Hilux, by the way. I've been in the European Hilux,
different
very
vehicle.
different car. Same thing with the Tundra, it doesn't exist. But for the most part, they share platforms, and it just hurts when you see others getting the best. Right. It's like it's no soup for you. I mean, that's how I feel, right?
But you're right about that, and we're not even joking about this because we do have a real love for the Land Cruiser, and it deserves that love. And by taking that away from the American audience and then substituting it with something else, because I have a feeling that's what they're going to do. They're going to call something the
well, that's what this
Uber
says.
Cruiser.
We're committed to a large SUV segment. We'll explore future products and celebrate the Land Cruiser.
But they're going to probably use part of the name Land Cruiser or the Land Cruiser Heritage or something, whatever. The point is that you're going to get rid of what was really important to this audience, and you're possibly going to replace it with something that is not as good or perhaps not as capable. That's a really bad idea.
And the other thing I would say to Toyota is, like I say, I'll make a economic argument and I'll make a kind of a heartfelt argument.
Okay,
right? So the economic argument is sometimes you need a loss leader, which the Land Cruiser may be. I mean, I'm sure if you look at the numbers, if you do the spreadsheet, they're probably not making money on that vehicle. And at some point, somebody at Toyota is like, we're not selling a lot of these things. It costs us a lot to federalize them. It'd be much smarter if we actually got one of the other vehicles that are in our lineup to take the place of that thing.
Right.
So that's, I think, the argument. Maybe that's the number.
Return on investment.
That Toyota's looking at. But my argument, the heartfelt one, would be is the loyalty and the love that people have for that vehicle and the value that it gives the Toyota brand, right? So that when you walk into the dealership and you've got everything, from a Corolla to a Land Cruiser, is what makes Toyota successful.
I will not disagree with you, which is rare. Not only that, but think about it this way. A long time ago, when the Prius first came out, they were losing money on the Prius for years and years, but they were building an audience. Now, this is sort of the reverse way of looking at it, but as I've said before, it's a halo vehicle. It's an aspirational vehicle. It's something that when someone buys a Toyota 4Runner and they've lived with it for 10 years and they love the fact that it's so reliable and capable, their family grows or they retire or whatever, they look up and they go, oh, okay, that vehicle, that Land Cruiser, that's what I aspire to get when I'm done with my 4Runner or whatever.
Right, and that ownership base is priceless. And I'll tell you why. Because look, Toyota, other companies are gunning for you, right?
Without a doubt.
Right. I mean, let's face it. I could point to at least 3 vehicles that should never have gone away because they'd be selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And let's talk about those. F-Shape probably shouldn't have gone away.
Yeah.
Right. And Jeep filled that. The Wrangler filled that niche and went from selling, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of units with the new JL, right?
Yeah.
Because that vehicle went away. So you lost market share, right? Same thing with Nissan and the Xterra.
Oh, the Xterra was a terrible idea to get rid of.
Yeah, walked away from it, and Jeep filled that niche. And now you look at Jeep, they've got the Grand
Wagoneer that's coming out, and the Grand Cherokee as well.
And the new Grand Cherokee, both are 3-row 7-seaters.
Right.
They're going after you, Toyota. Do you really want to walk away from that? Because once you walk away, it's going to be a lot more expensive to come back.
Now, I'm sure you guys have plans. Toyota is pragmatic and practical about everything they do. I mean, they don't wake up in the morning without a plan the day before.
No, they think long term.
They do think long term, and I get that. But the point is that you got to listen to your fans here in the United States, which is a really important market for you, and we know that. If you're listening to some Generation X guy who came walking in there saying, hey guys, let's get rid of that vehicle because I know you're not making much money on it, but I tell you what, we're going to replace it with the Super Cruiser. and it's going to be a hybrid with an independent rear
The
suspension.
Sequoia Cruiser.
Yeah, the Sequoia Cruiser. There we go.
There you go.
Please don't do that. Please consider your audience and consider what you've built in the
It won't
past.
sell.
It's going to hurt you in other ways long term. So we're asking that you keep the name Land Cruiser and keep the history going.
And keep the car, yeah. Keep the truck or car, whatever you decide.
Keep
to
it
call
a truck. No, please keep it a truck.
Yeah, keep it a truck, and keep it coming. Make it more fuel efficient. If you're going to go hybrid, great, go hybrid. We love the vehicle, and hopefully we can make that keep the cruiser hashtag.
Keep the cruiser. Hashtag keep the cruiser.
Trending, so that the higher ups at Toyota will see that unlike the Xterra, unlike the FJ, there's just there's a whole litany of vehicles that went away. And I think probably to the detriment of the companies that built them.
I agree 100%. And Stellantis, new FCA, is not going to sit back. They're going to invest more and more money into Jeep, especially when they see that the Land Cruiser is suddenly gone. It's like, pull that handle. We're going to go right in there and fill that void.
Yeah, I can see the Tour de France Cruiser.
I think they'll hold off on that, I hope. But the point is that, guys, help us out with this, because we really do believe that at the very least, if they see that, maybe they'll think about future plans in a slightly different way.
Well, guys, thanks for watching, and let us, of course, know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you miss the vehicle even though it's still here? Maybe maybe at the end of the day, all we've done is increase the value of current Land Cruisers.
Which wouldn't be so bad for a lot of people who are trying to sell them. Look, we know they're expensive, but they're worth it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. See you guys next time. Ciao.